Hi everyone, welcome to Tiki with Ray. I am filming this episode up in Victoria, BC, Canada. I am in the Enchanted Tiki Lodge, which is essentially the home of... Introduce yourselves to my audience.
So, Emmy, Mary Ellen.
And,
Jim.
And you guys are one of the very few couples that I know where the Tiki has expanded out of one room. Most people have a Tiki bar.
Yep.
You guys have a Tiki house. And technically we are in the Enchanted Tiki Lodge of your house, which... Is this like your living room or your dining... Well, your kitchen's
Family
right
room.
there.
Family room.
It's our
The
family.
family room.
And kitchen.
Your family room that's filled with tikis. A lot of tiki. Like there's some on the shelves, there's some on the floor. But what I want to talk to you guys today is about your very extensive Papua New Guinea collection. You have a lot of pieces.
We do.
You have a lot of pieces, and then Jim's going to give us a tour of and show us some of the pieces that we have. But before we get to that, I want to know, how did this start? Because you have a lot of stuff, a lot of tiki stuff, and
We do. Yeah.
where did this all start?
Well, I think goes back to our love of Hawaiiana and beach culture and all of that. And we live in Victoria, which is in the Pacific. So, and so some of that. And then honestly, Ray, we watched your show for years and we thought, okay, well, now that the kids are gone, how do we take that into our home and expand it and make it immersive? And that's really what we've done. So probably started with one tiki you got way back when, 1980 or so?
1980
In
from
Hawaii.
Hawaii.
Yep. And went from there. So,
That's
and
a
then,
heartwarming story, man.
I know. And then, you know what happened, Ray? Jim says, oh, I want to put this here. Oh, I think we should do the ceiling. Oh, I think we should do this. And of course, little pushback. But once we got going, you just have to be all in, or it just doesn't come together well enough. So,
And I like to hunt for stuff. So
Yeah.
thrift stores and antique stores and that. And once you find a piece, of course, you got to buy it. And then one piece would come in and you'd place it. And then you'd find another one. And of course, the thrill of the hunt is half the fun of doing it. The more you find, the more comes home, the more spread out it gets. Then it starts to expand. And the more you have, the more you think, oh, that's a good spot for a piece.
the more he
And-
wants.
Well, it usually goes along, but and then it kind of expands to fill the space. And
The
that's
thing,
how-
the thing that blew my mind is because you'd be messaging me, like on a weekly basis. Hey Ray, I found a couple more pieces this week. Boom, 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 boom. I'm like, where the hell is he finding all this stuff at? And you are just
thrift stores.
thrift
A lot of
stores
thrift
here.
Stores,
Yeah.
yeah. But also estates. We
Some.
have Hand of Man Museum, Jim Shockey, who's a world-renowned, really, I guess, hunter, explorer,
Yeah.
Collector.
We've gone to see his museum, and we're able to actually purchase a few things from Jim, and he actually let me go and explore in I guess, an estate sale that had just come to him. So that was kind of fun. And we have an estate sale that we purchased. But of course, for Papua New Guinea, I'll turn that over to Jim because this is one of his friends that owns a remarkable gallery. And so
Well,
that's how
well,
Papua New Guinea expanded.
Well, the interesting thing about the Papua New Guinea thing, it's not Polynesian,
Melanesian.
Melanesian,
Yeah.
but it is connected though.
Yeah.
South Pacific, right.
Yeah.
Well, the interesting thing is, so a lot of your Papua New Guinea is out in the other room,
Most of it, yeah.
and what's that called?
That's formerly
yeah.
the living room, but now it is.
Oh, dining room, living room. It's now the Oceanic Lounge.
Is the Oceanic Lounge, and it feels like an oceanic museum.
Oh.
There are so many pieces out there,
Once it starts.
and again, it's like there's so many tikis here. So it starts with the full on Polynesian tiki carvings here,
Yeah.
all shapes and sizes.
Yeah.
You have some Papua New Guinea that's over here
Yeah.
that we'll look at,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then you go into the living room. What'd you call it?
Oceanic Lounge.
The Oceanic Lounge, and it's like
Yeah, because here everything had to be limited to a certain size to fit in the room. But once
Yeah.
it burst through that door, then the size didn't matter anymore. So now you could expand. So, because here you have to deal with the space. There it became anything goes almost, and that's when it really took off.
And I guess to a certain degree you are right. The things out in the living, dining, the oceanic lounge area are higher quality. They are the true pieces. And here we have a blend, but we also have tons of fun things like souvenirs.
Yeah.
You have piranhas. Like,
Yeah, I mean,
this is the fun area.
is this how comparable is this to a Papua New Guinea
We
mask?
have the contrast
Yeah,
here,
not
right?
at all.
We love the fun things from thrift stores, and you got to throw some of that.
Is this worth a lot of money?
Oh yeah, it's
$5 maybe.
priceless on any
Yeah,
dish.
so in here was the fun stuff, the interesting, the souvenir
Oddities,
stuff. Yeah, out there is more of the serious stuff. We paid more money for it. It becomes more higher end of stuff. So it's just kind of expanded from a tiki bar to more, as you say, of a museum quality thing, because we do like going to museums and seeing higher end stuff. Never thought I'd own it.
and learning,
but,
right?
and learning.
Like we're
Well, here's the interesting thing, and to show you that I was paying attention to you when you talked, Jim.
oh, here we go.
Is this the first tiki that you bought?
Yep, that was bought in 1980 in the international marketplace. There was a carver sitting there cross-legged with a chisel working on this little tiki, and I watched him for a while, and then I know he was going to sell it, so I said, I'd like to buy that from you.
Yep.
And he signed it on the bottom with his chisel, with his name, and that's the first actual tiki I had ever purchased.
It says Batman.
Maki, does it say?
It says Batman. No, it doesn't. But the interesting
Yeah,
thing,
that's how it started.
But the interesting thing about this tiki and a lot of the tikis that you have on the shelf is they're around this size.
Yeah.
They're this size.
Yeah.
Fits in your luggage.
Yeah, the idea is that you would be going over to Hawaii. You're going to bring back a souvenir,
Yep.
and you're going to put it in your bag, and you're going to call it good.
Right.
And a lot of tikis that you find out in thrift shops and everything are usually those size.
Yep.
So when it comes to these Papua New Guinea pieces, what's the story? Like who's bringing back these pieces, these masks? Because they run the gamut.
Yeah.
And as you'll see on the show, like you got one that's like as tall as me. You got masks that are this big, this big. No one's going there on vacation to Papua New Guinea and being like, "Hey, I'm going to take this and bring it back with me. I'll just put it in my bag."
Yeah.
So who's going to Papua New Guinea and getting these things and bringing it back?
Well, usually what we've found is either the adventurer type of explorer, the serious collector, a guy who goes there and purchases maybe a container load.
A container.
Yeah, a container, usually because of the shipping, it's expensive. People that know, maybe resellers, people, museums, serious collectors, they're not bringing it in luggage. They're bringing it in serious containers, and then it comes back either for a museum or for a buyer who's commissioned somebody to go. So they're bringing it back in large quantities or usually large containers, and that's how it enters the country, not from a tourist per se.
And there's that many carvers over there and people making masks and making whatever.
There used to be. There's a lot less now because of different reasons. Maybe the carvers got older or died or moved.
Yeah.
The younger ones maybe aren't interested. Maybe they're interested in making money a different way.
Yeah.
So there's less and less carvers as time goes on, and that's what I hear. So, I mean, these things probably are going to end up being more expensive or harder to get in the future because, of course, there has to be a demand and there has to be somebody making it.
Yeah.
So,
And I'm guessing before even like with all that happened, well, how it was originally, going back before like any kind of tiki craze or anything like that, is that you had people that had the money and the wherewithal to go to these faraway lands, and it was kind of like a badge of honor. Like, look I brought back this mask from Papua New Guinea. And it's like just saying like, hey, I actually went all the way over here and got this and brought it back. Like our friend Steven went to Papua New Guinea, slept with the natives, walked around barefoot for a couple weeks. Luckily didn't get killed. And came back with like
a
body. He bought a mask off a carver there. And like, wow. And it's one of those things, like when I was holding that mask, I'm like, this is pretty amazing. The fact that like this is from Papua New Guinea, it's not Papua New Guinea style. You bought this off the guy who carved it in Papua New Guinea, and you brought it here, and now it's here.
Yeah, so I mean, there's no way we could do that. I mean, we're
No.
not traveling to Papua New Guinea with a container and everything else.
No.
I mean, that would be impossible. But to have it, and in this case, our collection came from one woman's massive collection directly from Papua New Guinea.
Yeah.
In a container, which came to her home,
Yeah.
which came to my friend Tom,
Yeah.
which come to us. So no other buyer outside of the original one who brought it has ever had it. So we felt privileged to be able to have the opportunity to even buy it.
All right, let's talk about Tom. Who is Tom? Tell my audience who Tom is, what he does, his store.
His name is Tom Stark, and he lives in Victoria, British Columbia. I actually went to school with Tom. I met him in grade 9 at my Esquimalt High School, and we graduated together. Didn't see him for years and years and years. Ran into him at a vintage fair where he was doing appraisals of things. Hey, Tom, how you doing? We got reacquainted.
Yeah.
And we were talking about stuff, and it came up what he has. And I asked him, do you have any Papua New Guinea stuff or anything Hawaiian? And he
Yeah.
said, yeah, I have some stuff.
Yeah.
And I said, really? He said, yeah, you should pop by the gallery and take a look. We popped in. I bought a piece from a storyboard from Papua New Guinea, small, tourist piece. And he said, well, you should check back when I move stores, and we're going to have a lot bigger space. We're going to bring in some of my big collection of Papua New Guinea.
Yeah.
So months went by, finally dropped by his store, went in there. It was like, wow. I mean, tons of big pieces from Papua New Guinea. Told me the story where he got it all from. Talked to Mary Ellen, went down and started looking. And of course, we fell in love with this stuff. And then the buying started. And it's probably still going.
Yeah.
It's hard to stop once you see, because it's there. You can have it, and it's raw. It's like right off the boat, almost fresh. It's in the back room. Spiderweb's still on it, and you can be the first person to own it.
Yeah.
So
And Tom's gallery is Out of the Mist, and he is all about Pacific and oceanic arts. He's an expert in Coast Salish and very knowledgeable and very well respected around the world.
Yeah.
So, we were thrilled to be able to actually learn from Tom and then, find the pieces that we like, that resonate with us, that would, work in our home. There are some restrictions in your home, although you don't think so. But but anyway, so it was fun. We were able to get a few fun pieces and others that, probably are on the extreme of exotic and things that we like that worked. And so it was fun. Yeah, Tom has been very wonderful. As you know, we brought you there yesterday.
We went there yesterday, yes.
And we
just
actually
like-
get to hunt in Tom's place.
Yeah, we went here. He's like, here, go into this back room.
Yeah.
And there was like a back room behind the back room.
Yeah.
And he just had this like pile of Papua New Guinea masks.
Yeah.
all dusty and dirty,
Statues and flutes and traditional wear, different things.
Yeah, it's a treasure trove. It's like amazing to
Yeah.
see it in that state,
Yeah.
not all pretty
Yeah.
in a fancy gallery. This is like in a back room, like some sort of tomb or something.
And some pieces are, probably from the 90s when the original person we were talking about, Elaine, that owned it, went over, worked with the artisans and brought back from their collection. But also Tom has other pieces that are from, turn of the century, probably even prior.
Yeah,
The
crazy.
necklaces, the board pieces that come from other collections. So just fun to be able to go. And of course, it's a gallery. It's not a museum. So he allows you to touch and hold and turn and spin and decide what.
No, things are for sale.
They are. Yeah,
Yep.
I mean, but obviously there's just so much that you
And
have
what
to
is
pick and choose, right?
and what is the name of his store?
Out of the Mist Gallery.
Out of the Mist Gallery.
Yeah.
It's in downtown Victoria.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
on Government
downtown.
Street.
I
Yeah,
mean,
Government
it's
Street.
walking distance from the Clipper.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, oh yeah, from
And,
the Inner
uh,
Harbor. Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you get a chance to come up to Victoria and you're into Tiki or Papua New Guinea,
Yeah.
you definitely got to stop in, at least say hello to this guy, because he was really nice,
Yeah.
really knowledgeable, really friendly, and very open to like showing us the stuff. I don't have the money to buy that kind of stuff, but it was really awesome to see this stuff up close. Well, speaking of seeing Papua New Guinea up close, Jim's going to give us a little tour and show us some of the pieces that you guys have in the Oceanic Lounge,
Right.
aka
And a few in the Enchanted Tiki.
yeah,
Lodge
we're going to
itself.
start here in the Enchanted Tiki
Yeah.
Lodge, and then we're going to go into the. I like how you have names for all the different rooms.
Well, there's not
Like-
a living room anymore. It's,
Yeah.
it just sounds good.
Like the guest bedroom is the Hotel de France or something like that, or
the Paris room.
the Paris room. So there you
Just the
go.
evolution of
Yeah.
things.
They like theme rooms, I think.
Yeah, what's the name of your closet? Your walk-in closet? That
I don't
room.
want to have a name for it. It's
Jim stuff.
my dressing room
I've never seen a guy own so many pairs of blue jeans.
or Hawaiian shirts.
Watch out, Weird Al Yankovic. He's catching up to you. All right, let's take a look at some of this Papua New Guinea stuff.
All right. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Jim Sloan, and we're here at our Enchanted Tiki Lodge in Victoria, British Columbia, Canada. We're going to do a little walk around the room and show you some of the stuff we have here, some of our tikis in Papua New Guinea, and so enjoy the tour. Here's our wood tikis pretty much that we've picked up in various places all over Victoria, mostly in thrift stores. So it's a good collection of the smalls that people would bring back in their luggage. So it's easy to pack and it's easy to pick up later when they get rid of it. That's where we go looking for. And then here's the bigger pieces we put up on the wall. And some of these are the Papua New Guinea here. Some of the masks, again, some of them tend to be on the small side. Some church thrift stores, some of the other ones. Tend to like the Papua New Guinea, a little bit more exotic maybe. Over here we have a couple of Papua New Guinea masks, and these ones now we've gotten from a local store, Tom Stark's, out of the Mist Gallery, downtown Victoria. What we'll show you again is from a major collection that used to be in a store called El Chiringa. The woman retired, sold her whole collection to Tom, and these pieces were directly brought by her from Papua New Guinea, and we've had the opportunity to buy some of her collection through Tom, and you'll see the major pieces in the other room that we've been able to pick up. Okay, here we are in the other area of the Enchanted Tiki Lodge, which is actually our kitchen. So again, this is another piece from Tom from the El Chiringa collection, wood again. We have some various other things that we've picked up. This one was a little display piece I found at a local value village, and it looks like somebody had done up an information with miniatures all about the history of Papua New Guinea artifacts. It's well done, probably done maybe in the 60s. But the pieces are really well done, and that was just something we just picked up and decided to put that in the room as well. Here we are outside of the Tiki Lodge, and now this area here is we call the Oceanic Lounge. This used to be our dining room and living room, which is now got enough tiki in it to not be just a general room anymore. It's the Oceanic Lounge. Okay, this piece was a major find for us. This one actually came from a private museum. It's the Jim Shockey Museum called Hand of Man, which is up island in Duncan. He is a major hunter, outdoorsman, major collector of oceanic arts and world tribal arts. We went to his museum. I met Jim. We talked about this piece here he brought back personally from Papua New Guinea. It was in his museum. He didn't have a place to put it because he's moved some other pieces, and we kind of talked for a while and decided that I'd like it. So he gave it to me, and I bought it, and it's one of probably the oldest and the best pieces we have. And again, it's not very decorated, which is typical of the non-tourist piece. So this is quite a rare piece, quite heavy, handmade, done. This is probably one of the best we have. Okay, here's another piece we've gotten from the Tom Stark's Out of the Mist Gallery, the El Chiringa collection. This is a hornbill. It's one of the more unusual ones because it's actually the bird, which a lot of them tend to be figures of humans or some sort of a crocodile maybe, but this was a nice piece that Mary Ellen particularly liked. It's well colored, quite heavy, but it's a unique piece because it's a bird. Okay, here's some more pieces that we picked up from Tom, El Chiringa collection. Again, here's a female fertility piece here, which is really nice. I always like this look here. That's one of the ones I always wanted to have. This is a Balaam bag or whatever it is. I forget what the name of it is, but they usually carry this on the women's heads or men's heads to collect fruit or food and that kind of stuff. This is called a replacement skull. They use that for decoration on different things. I'm not sure whose head that might be. It's not real. Here's another unique piece I like. It's a little different than the typical Papua New Guinea that I've seen. Colors with the yellow and the white. It could be from a little different area, quite a contrast to this style, but again, it's something that we liked. And this wood here is different than this because this is fairly light, and it's called swamp pine. And this is what they use a lot of times on that makes the wood so light, and it's a certain variety. Whereas the other ones with a darker wood, that's usually a more dense wood, it's usually heavier. So there's a difference, so I like the contrast between the two. Up here we have a food hook, usually for food or bags to keep off the ground from animals or dogs or whatever it is, or bugs. That's typical hanging outside of houses. These two here are called storyboards. I always like those. They usually tell a story of maybe something that happened, something that goes on in their village. They have different things like a cassowary that they have captured, different things, or houses, and they're kind of cool to have as well. Here's another piece I found at a local thrift store, which is really nice. You don't usually find too much Papua New Guinea at thrift stores. Again, this is typical. You have the shell eyes. A lot of times you'll have the crocodile coming out of the mouth, which is a typical thing you'll see. A lot of them have crocodile clans as part of their tribal totem person and animal, but that was a local find, so that's pretty good. Here's another one from Tom Stark's gallery. It reminds me a little bit of the drummer from Disneyland. It has that same kind of face to it. And again, you typical when you get the cord from the ears, usually the shell eyes, that kind of stuff is pretty typical of the Papua New Guinea. Here's a piece here that was really unique. I liked it. What it is this is a little gourd. It's all hand decorated. And what this is for is for the lime juice. Papua New Guineans, they like to eat the betel nuts, which is that red nut that's, maybe it's bitter. I've never had it. And what they do is they suck on the lime juice along with the betel nut. I guess it does something for the taste or something like that. But this is kind of unusual. Tom had that, and he said that's the only one he's seen. And it was quite unique, so we thought we'd get something a little different than the typical pieces you usually see. These two pieces, again, this one here is again from Tom's gallery. This is a really nice piece. Again, it's one that's carved in the round, the hornbill, which is kind of nice because a lot of them are one-sided. This is completely all around carved. Very nice. I like that. That was the first piece I bought from Tom's gallery. And this one's a little unusual because this is from the Jimshaki Museum, the Hand of Man. And this is actually from the west side. This is from Papua. This is the Asmat people. Little different. That's where it now belongs to Indonesia. Totally different makeup. The hat's different, the art's different, but they still have the crocodile worship. And that's kind of a rare piece because you usually don't find that many from Papua because it's a whole different ballgame. Not too many people go there. It's a little more dangerous because the people are not the same. But I wanted a piece from the west side as well. Okay, here's two more pieces from Tom Stark's Out of the Mist gallery from the Altringa collection. Again, this is a hook. Much more decorated than a lot of the ones you see. It's decorated on the backside as well, again for hanging stuff off the ground. And this one was a real prize that we thought about for a few months. Luckily it was still there. Stephen Curran came over, and since he'd been to Papua New Guinea, he said I should grab this. What it is it's on the front of a canoe. It's called a canoe prow shield. They have it mounted on the front of a canoe. And whenever they're going, I guess, against another tribe or whatever they're doing, that's all got a huge lattice work of bamboo behind, cassowary feathers all the way around. That was a special piece. He's only ever seen one, and Stephen Curran insisted that I should grab that. So I was smart enough to listen to him. So that's one of our treasured pieces right there. And finally, we have another large piece from Tom, only one that he had available for sale. This is a gable mask. It's a female figure, and these were usually used on the top of the A-frames in Papua New Guinea in a house, a major house, where it has that cranked over face because it's used to looking down on everybody from the top of the A-frame. Again, that's woven basket material, very light. Usually you don't see them. They're somewhat fragile, but that made it back. Again, the black on the outside is cassowary feathers. You don't see a lot of that either. Again, that's one of the treasured pieces that we wanted to grab, so we were lucky enough to get a hold of that one. And since we had a large beam that was undecorated, we decided to look for some pieces that we could mount there. That's just, I think, a ceremonial staff from Papua New Guinea. It's not a weapon. I think it's just maybe something somebody held as maybe some position or something in the tribe. This one here is a spear. It's got a bone tip. I don't know if they actually use it or it's a tourist piece, but it's got the porcupine quills and all that sort of stuff. So again, that fit on this beam for decoration. And the one over here is actually a flute. And again, whether it actually was for ceremonies or tourist piece, it doesn't matter to me. It uses the common elements of the crocodile and the hornbill. So I hope you enjoyed the tour of our Papua New Guinea pieces from the collection of Jim Shockey and Tom Stark. And yeah, so we actually live in our tiki room. We don't have to go to it. This is our family room, our kitchen. So when actually we're sitting here relaxing, watching TV or whatever we do, eating meals, whatever, we live in our tiki bar or tiki room or oceanic lounge. And again, this is a mixture of Papua New Guinea, Hawaii, Tahiti, New Zealand, all the stuff that we like, that's the South Pacific, which we enjoy very much, either traveling to or anything involved in that kind of feeling that's very relaxing. Turn down the lights, have some rum drinks, and listen to some exotica or something, and it's a perfect night.
Want to support the Tiki with Ray show and look cool doing it at the same time? Then head over to tikiwithray.com and buy yourself a Tiki with Ray shirt. They're only $20. Tony Canepa did the design, and they're screen printed in America.